What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So we have an updated trailer for the film Keeper. Now it does say, as you see from the headline, that this is a teaser trailer, but it is probably, and you guys all know, I check the timestamps on these things just so we know what we're getting ourselves into. And I'll say it's the longest running teaser I've seen. It's 2 minutes and 7 seconds long. Now this film should sound familiar to you all. I mean, as you can see, it's gonna be the next Osgood Perkins film he's doing. But we did, back on July 20th or 21st is when the first teaser came out, and it was only about a little over a minute long. And I think we actually played that one twice because there was so much packed in. It was a little bit confusing. It was almost as if in that teaser we were following 3 different women in 3 different time periods, but it seemed like they were all experiencing the exact same thing. Now, whether or not they were experiencing it across, some type of multiverse, or it was whatever was happening to them was happening to them by the same individual, and they were, again, just experiencing the same thing. Don't know. Again, that's why we watched it twice. We were trying to figure it out because there wasn't much to go on. But again, we have a new one. So hopefully this teaser gives us a completely different view and look onto this film. So as we always do, we're going to jump into the article details, and then we're going to check out what they're calling a teaser. But I think just based on the length of it, it could easily be defined as a full trailer. So let's get into it. Why does it always have to end? Neon has released a mysterious new teaser trailer for director Osgood Perkins' new horror movie Keeper, and you can give it a watch down below, which is the version we're going to watch. And as I always do, but just a reminder, I will put the link for this article in the description of the video below. So if you want to see the exact version we're going to watch, you'll have access to it through that way. The film centers on a romantic anniversary weekend that goes haywire, with the trailer uniquely told first from the woman's perspective and then from the man's. I think there was a film like this. There was actually 2 different movies. I think James McAvoy was in it, but the first film was completely told from the woman's version, and then the second film, they did 2 different films, and the second film was completely from the man's version. And it sounds like they're doing something. So I think it was James McAvoy. I could be wrong. It's not a horror film, but I know there's been a film like that where they actually did 2 different movies, pretty much, again, telling the overall same story, but from 2 different perspectives. So glad to see that they're taking this uniqueness for this trailer, because I like different things like this. So, all right, let's keep going. Quote, "Is there a way to keep love alive?" Liz asked. "Is it his face I see when I close my eyes, or only a mask that he's wearing?" Malcolm asked the very same questions in the back half of the trailer, but both coming to the same conclusion. "I think he's/she's a keeper." All right, so we have who's starring in it. We have coming to theaters on November 14th. So we are just, let's see, 2-3 months away from this dropping. 3 months away, somewhere around there. Yeah, 3 months. 3 months away from this dropping. All right, let's keep going. Keeper follows a couple. So we have actually now the synopsis here. Keeper follows a couple as they escape from for a romantic anniversary weekend at a secluded cabin. When Malcolm suddenly returns to the city, Liz finds herself isolated and in the presence of an unspeakable evil that unveils the cabin's horrifying secrets. I'm not so much interested in that as I'm interested in again, what we saw in the first teaser. Now I'm wondering though if they're all coming to the same cabin, and of course across different periods of time, and that's the cabin's horrifying secrets, that these things have happened in the past. All right, so this will be Perkins' 3rd film with Neon in the wake of box office hits Longlegs and The Monkey. Perkins previously directed The Black Coat's Daughter, I Am the Pretty Thing That Lives in the House, and the art house fairy tale adaptation Gretel and Hansel. Now I know the first 2 films here, Longlegs and The Monkey. Not too many. I know not too many people like The Monkey, and I was a bit surprised by that. I thought for what it was pretty entertaining. Longlegs I thought was really good. I think it was kind of a surprise for a lot of people on how good that was going to be. I think it takes a couple of watches, in my opinion, to really kind of grasp and kind of pay attention to everything, because you can't easily miss some things in that first viewing of Longlegs. So, All right, we have the trailer here. We're gonna take a look at. We do have a poster. I don't like you anymore. Okay, keep going. Banger of a poster. Let's go. This is what and I'll let slide this one thing up here. It's small, but I love the color of the font that they decide to use for this, for the title. But this is probably, I mean, we've done a lot of trailer reviews on the channel. We've done a lot of trailer reviews this year. And I think we've only come across a very small handful of posters that I've been like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Number one poster right here. It's clean, it's simple. There's plenty still of mystery around as far as like the image of whoever we're looking at, and it just says Keeper. So in me, this is like, I wonder what that film could be about. And then if you know Osgood Perkins does horror films, then you're gonna know, okay, this is a horror film, but what is this one gonna be about? But absolutely love the poster, and I love the colors that they decide, the color that they decide to use for the font. I think it pops great with the more darker tone background. So love the poster. All right, so let's get back to the top. Now again, this is the second teaser. Reminder, we did one back on July 20th or 21st. That was only 1 minute and 7 seconds long. They're calling this the new teaser. We're going to see it from, apparently the first half is from her perspective, the second half is from his perspective, but it's roughly 2 minutes and 7 seconds long. So let's get into it and see hopefully we'll get a lot more new content that won't be recycling stuff. So let's get into it and see what this one's going to show us.
I don't wanna play in your yard.
Why does it always have to end? Is there any way to keep love alive? Do I even know this man? Is it his face I see when I close my eyes? Or only a mask that he's wearing? Always there, looking back at me. I think he's a keeper.
You'll be sorry when you see me.
Why does it always have to end? Is there any way to keep love alive?
Please.
Do I even know this woman? Is it her face I see when I close my eyes? Or only a mask that she's wearing? Always there, looking back at me. I think she's a keeper.
Let's freaking go. That is, I thought that was a great trailer, a great teaser. I love that they did the two different aspects. And I'm looking at the timestamp now. It was about 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So I apologize. I was off on the amount of time that ran. I think I said like 2 minutes and 7 seconds. So I apologize. Great trailer though. I do love that they did the two different perspectives. And when they got done with her perspective, it was as we got brought back to that same spot. He's lying on the floor, she's sitting next to him, and now we're getting it from his perspective. And the lines that they were saying, I think were exactly the same, but yet the scenes that we were seeing were obviously different. Now, we did see some of, I don't want to call them flashbacks, but we did see what appeared to be flashbacks, because there was a scene when she was doing her talk over, a couple guys with some muskets that were shooting them off at something, like down at something. We also saw some brief flashbacks of the 2 other women that were shown in that first teaser trailer. We saw it in hers, and right before the switchover, it got like really dramatic and a lot of quick shots where we saw a different perspective of the lady that looks like almost like 1800s, where she's like in a barn where she's pregnant. We saw her, but again, from a different vantage point. And then when we got switched over to him, where again, we saw a little bit more of those individuals, but again, more added to those scenes. One thing I also noticed, though, when he was doing his talk over, she was sitting there drawing in a notebook, and she was actually drawing. If you looked closely at those drawings, they looked exactly like the other 2 women. I'm wondering, as I mentioned earlier with this cabin, I'm wondering if it's something to do with maybe the land that this cabin is on, or maybe this cabin has been like extended over time, like this just been constantly been built on, like it's a very old cabin, but someone just keeps like renovating it, so to speak. Or there's, you know, something to do with that area of land, which was where the past like historical secrets would come from. But this, again, I loved the uniqueness of this trailer. That it at each individual one, because at the end of the man's like talk over, I don't know who it was, but there was someone with like white hands and like dark nails, and they had like a white bag over their head. I don't know if they were wearing like a robe or like an old, like again, 1800s type shirt, but we got some very quick glimpses into what could be a demon, a supernatural being, something, because we saw the hand kind of creeping around the corner when she was doing her talk over. We saw a hand like going past like an old oil lamp like casing. I don't know if anyone knows what I'm talking about, like the old oil lamps that would have like the glass covering over it. You'd have the large wick inside that you could turn and have it go higher or lower. It looked like one of those. And then we saw another individual, it looked like coming up some stairs. And then I think at the very end, before we see like the image I talked about with the white hands and the plastic bag, someone was like being dragged up a tree. So a lot of them were cutscenes. So it was, but again, this was a great trailer. I think it gave us a lot more to look at as far as compared to the first teaser. But still, I think you really don't know what this is going to be about. Now, I do wonder, though, as we wrap this one up, if the film is going to take a similar perspective, right? Like we're going to see a bit of her perspective, like really the film focusing on her, and then it shifts, almost like starts over for then him, and then goes back to her, then we continue, and then it starts over from that point for him, right? And then somewhere in like the 3rd act or something, they kind of, their stories converge, and then they're just like together. Then it's just one story that we're watching for the rest of the latter half of the film. So yeah, okay guys, that's gonna wrap this one up. So that is the latest teaser for Keeper, and let me double check the date for y'all. I think it was November 14th. Yeah, November 14th, this one drops in theaters. Definitely, I thought this was a banger of a teaser trailer. I can't wait to see an actual full trailer. I do hope, though, when we do get a full trailer, it won't be like recycled. And I am glad to see they didn't recycle scenes from that first teaser in July to this one, and because it was double the amount of time. So great poster again for this one. Great follow-up teaser for Keeper. I'm looking forward to seeing this one. So drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you thought about it, if you plan on seeing this one. And if you haven't done so already, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, we'll see you at the next one. Later.